Hello and welcome to the Sustainable Aviation Futures North America Interview Insights here in Houston. Today I'm joined with Steven Plas, the Director of Lower Emission Fuels and Business Development at ExxonMobil. Welcome, Steven.
Thank you.
So, can you introduce yourself and your role briefly?
Yeah, so my name is Steven Plas. I work for ExxonMobil Corporation in Energy Products and Solutions. My department is actually taking care of the implementation of the lower emission fuel strategy. So looking at our manufacturing sites globally, what can we do in order to start producing lower emission fuels? And we're working also on business development for the fuels business.
So, can you give us some examples about what ExxonMobil is currently doing to develop lower emission fuels and SAF?
Yes, of course, glad to. So first of all, let me talk about the bigger picture. So between 2022 and 2027, our corporation is pursuing initiatives for about $20 billion of lower carbon initiatives. Half of that will go to the decarbonization support of our manufacturing and operations. And the other half is about carbon capture and storage, hydrogen, lithium, and also biofuels. So it's on the last one that we're going to talk about. On the last one, biofuels, we're heavily focused on looking at our advantage facilities that we have, where we can deploy proprietary technologies, leveraging existing infrastructure. But at the same time, we're also looking at markets and policy incentives and support to create that demand that we actually need. So as an example, in 2021, our majority-owned affiliate Imperial Oil in Canada announced to invest $560 million to put that in a renewable diesel project at the Canada Strathcona refinery. And that facility will start up in 2025 and can produce up to 300 million gallons of renewable diesel. And we're going to use also hydrogen that is expected to be produced with carbon capture and storage. And then combining that hydrogen with locally bio feedstock, we put proprietary catalyst to work to make actually that renewable diesel. So that's a renewable diesel project, but of course that's one step. Afterwards you can still invest in sustainable aviation fuel if the market is there. But we're also investing in co-processing in Canada because under the Clean Fuels Regulation Act, actually co-processed fuels, low carbon intense fuels, is actually recognized for bio credits. And we're actually doing that in Europe as well. We have produced already SAF at the Grandmochon refinery through co-processing already in November 2023. But also there is actually an economical signal, a demand signal to produce sustainable aviation fuel through co-processing.
Amazing, and some really great examples about what can currently be done in the space. What, in your opinion, do energy companies need to scale up lower emission and SAF production?
So if you look at it, in order to scale up SAF production, SAF is still costing more than jet conventional fuel. It's a multiple. We heard 2 to 5, 6 to 8 over the conference. So in order for us to produce reliably over time, we need robust policy and robust demand. So we're looking for long-term offtake from our customers or policy or incentives in order to make sure that we have a reasonable return on those investments. We talked about it over the last days. Technology is available. Existing infrastructure is available. ExxonMobil, for instance, has one of the largest hydrorefining capacities in the world in the refining circuit. We can actually repurpose some of these units to produce lower emission fuels, and we could do that at a lower cost versus grassroots facilities. So that is actually an advantage that we do have. Now, regarding policies, I think that government and companies, industry will need to come together to adopt a life cycle approach, how we look at policy and sustainable aviation fuel. That's currently not always there. Like take the US as an example, there's still some policy obstacles. And we talked about co-processing. Under the IRA, there are incentives to produce sustainable aviation fuel, but arbitrarily is excluding co-processing. So I do believe that co-processing is a part of the solution, but currently is not motivated yet by policy.
So beyond what you just mentioned, what technology is ExxonMobil currently developing and deploying to scale up SAF?
So we're involved in several R&D platforms, but let me just highlight two. So first of all, it's everything about catalyst. That is actually our core business. I talked about this proprietary catalyst we're going to use in the Strathcona refinery to produce renewable diesel next year. So we're developing a lot of programs to actually continuously update that catalyst. So that's an important one. Secondly, on the e-fuel side, we have also developed technology where actually from e-methanol, you can actually produce jet, SAF, so e-SAF. That technology is out there. We're licensing it out. We're looking for partners as well. So that are actually two examples in which space we're actually now investigating a lot of time and effort.
Amazing and really exciting. You mentioned some of your plans there. Are there other plans to produce lower emissions fuel and SAF in the US?
So in the US, we have like 4 refineries, 3 here at the US Gulf Coast and 1 in Illinois. Like I said, we're always evaluating globally, even all our refinery sites, where would it make sense to invest in sustainable aviation fuel or renewable diesel. So for the timing, like I said, we need that policy support. We need that incentive to start producing. I think for us that is the most important one. And if you think about how good policy looks like, it has to be life cycle based. It needs to set targets over time to reduce CO2 emissions. It needs to be technology neutral and feedstock neutral so that we are not picking any winners or losers. It's very important that we need all the solutions, so we should not exclude any solutions. And it should be rewarding carbon intensity. So the lower the carbon intensity, the more reward it actually should generate. So that is how we think about it.
And finally, we've loved having you here this week at Sustainable Aviation Futures North America. Can you tell us a little bit more about the insights you learned this week?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think this is one of the places where all the people from the value chain, the industry are coming together, producers, feedstock suppliers, airlines, people providing the technology. I think it's good to have these discussions so actually that we are going to work together to bring these sustainable aviation fuels to the market that the aviation industry will need in order to decarbonize. So yes, really enjoyed it. Looking forward to next year.
Amazing. Well, Steven, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much, Harry.